Bang! Neves Knives. I'm Jared, and this is 5 Fast Knife Reviews. Now, this is the ARTISAN AHAB, but it's a prototype. Now, I was going to do a full review on it, but I'm not gonna. I'm just adding it into this Fast 5. It doesn't really make sense for me to do a full review because most of the things I have to complain about and everything are all getting changed. So to do a full review just doesn't make sense on a prototype like this when there's going to be so many changes. But I do like the knife quite a bit. It's an ARRPM9 steel. Super slim. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but it's designed by NITCH Designs. Now, I do have a full first impressions with a lot more information in it if you want to click this card up here in the corner and check that out. Now, this is a harpoon blade shape. I almost want to say it's like a harpoon modified Wharncliffe, but it does have a lot of upsweep, and it's a very slicey blade. Very slim, slicey. It does cut extremely well. The blade shape is just, it's perfect for EDC. The detailing work you can do with it, it's amazing. And since it's so slim, it's amazing to carry aside from the problem I had. But the clip works great. Now, it kind of looks like a fish, especially with the JG10, because you can see inside of it, it has a skeletonized look. Now, he was trying to go for the least amount of hardware as possible. As you can see, you can't even see the pivot. Well, you can see through the JG10, but you know, if this was MICARTA or something, all you see is these two screws. You don't even see a pivot. You can see the hardware underneath the JG10, but the action is really good. Detent, super solid. Access to the liner, really good on both sides. Very easy to disengage. Nice and smooth on the drop. Now, my issues were what's getting changed on it. So, the thumb studs. It made it almost impossible for me to actually carry it. While this thing is slim in the pocket and all that good stuff, every time I went to pull it out of my pocket, the thumb studs would get caught on my pants and it would open up. I almost cut myself multiple times and I just said, I can't carry this. So it really hurt me, that made it very hard for me to review it, carry it like a normal EDC. So that is one thing they're bringing down. They're going to shorten the thumb studs to, you know, more level with the scales, so that won't be a problem. They're also going to chamfer this edge right here. I'm not really worried about that. The one other issue that I personally have with it is just the plunge grind and the choil. I'd rather see a good plunge grind or a good choil, because when I sharpen it, I'm going to sharpen all the way back into the plunge grind. But awesome knife, and can't wait to see the final production of it, because it, you know, the blade shape and, you know, how slim it is, it works out great for EDC. Next, I recently got a PM2, a Spyderco PM2 in CRUWEAR. I've been wanting a PM2 in CRUWEAR for a long time now. I've tested a lot of CRUWEAR, sharpened so much CRUWEAR, and I absolutely love CRUWEAR, but I never had my own knife in CRUWEAR. So now I finally do, thanks to Knife Sergeant. Shout out to Knife Sergeant. I'm going to tag his video down in the description if you guys want to follow his channel. Awesome knives, awesome channel. You should definitely check it out. So this one has these aluminum scales. Now, I'm pretty sure he did a blade swap on it. I don't think this one came with the CRUWEAR, but regardless, it doesn't really matter to me. He did replace the clip with a titanium clip. The clip works great. These scales come in, you can get this knife or the knife in these scales in so many different colors. They look really cool. It has like an effect to it that really plays with the light and plays with your eyes. It almost looks contoured, but it's not. It is perfectly flat. But it does appear to be contoured, doesn't it? It's very cool how that effect works. Nice and grippy, adds a bit of a tactile feel to it. These are aluminum, by the way. I don't know if I said that. The detent on this is super stiff. And I mean that in a good way. I like that. It almost has a detent similar to the Yojimbo. If you guys know Spydercos very well, the Yojimbo comes with a nice snappy detent, and that's the way this one is. Now, because of that, it makes the lock bar a little bit tight to squeeze, but I'm going to get a CME like I have on my other favorite steel, K390. I got the PM2. This is the St. Nick's edition with the MICARTA scales, K390 steel, and you see I have the CME. Now this is from OCD for EDC. If I remember, I'll also tag him down in the description. You can go to his site and pick these up. And it's real easy. You don't have to take the knife apart or anything. They just glue on and it works great, and it basically turns your compression lock into a button lock and makes it really easy for lefties. But I love K390 and I love CRUWEAR. Both steels are just fantastic. Why do I love it so much? So, one, it takes an insanely sharp edge, you know, similar to like K390, you know, my other favorite steel. It takes such a keen edge with a massive amount of bite, and that's something I'm really passionate about with my edges. When I sharpen, I can't always get it because it does depend on the steel and a bunch of details, but I like to get as much bite as I can get out of each edge. And when I can find a steel that just gets incredibly bitey at the edge, I love it. And the steel, another reason why I love the steel is because it holds a fine edge extremely well. So its fine edge lasts for a long time, longer than a lot of knives. A lot of knives, they don't have a long-lasting fine edge, but their working edge lasts a long time. With this steel, the fine edge lasts a nice, good, long time. So I just love it. And it's a good quality steel all the way around. Holds a really good edge, you know, just overall. Yeah, and just a fantastic steel, and I love it. So, and the next one is the Spyderco Chicago. Now, this kind of fits us because we do live in Chicago, so I did want to get this for a while, but it is a little tiny knife, and Spyderco designed this, you know, being called the Chicago, as a knife legal to carry in Chicago, because in downtown Chicago you have a blade length requirement of under 3 inches, and I think this is 2.5 inches, something like that. It's really tiny. Now you can get a full 4-finger grip for the most part because of the choil area, but it's more of a pinch grip knife, you know, something you're going to use to open boxes and basically use like this. But this area right here makes it really good for your middle finger to wrap around and really get a lot of leverage for utility cuts. This one did come pretty stiff. It's going to break in, obviously. It is on washers, so over time it'll get smoother and smoother. The slow roll isn't bad. It's pretty smooth, but you can really feel that lock bar tension, especially when you disengage it. You have plenty of access to disengage it, but it is not drop shutty in any way, not even a little bit. So you do have to force it down, but there's nothing wrong with that. It just makes you have a lot more control over the knife and deploying and closing it. And it is still satisfying to open and close, just in a different way. And I can Spidey flick it, but you do have to get the right leverage to Spidey flick it and get it to deploy all the way. But like I said, it'll break in. It'll just get smoother and smoother and smoother and smoother, and over time, it'll be very, very smooth. Nice, strong lockup. It is rock solid. It's not centered. Did not come centered, and that was brand new out of the box. It was not centered. Deep carry wire clip that is reversible. Somewhat of a big clip for such a small knife. That is something you feel directly in the hand when you're holding it, but regardless, not a big deal. Like I said, it's more of a pinch grip knife. BD1N steel, more of a budget to low mid-grade steel, but these are extremely affordable. Very handy. You know, they can be used as 5th pocket knives. You know, like I said, they'll fit in a lot of ladies' pockets, a lot of guys' 5th pockets. You know, it's just something that's extremely useful and very well built. You can see how many standoffs this has. This is a very solidly built little knife. Let's get to the next one. Now the next one, this is something Kara picked up. This is the Bestech Tulip. Now they do have a premium version of this. This is just a little G10 version, but like I said, they have a premium version. It is tiny. Very, very small. The name makes sense for it. It is a front flipper. Now, I don't know how good of an idea it was to put a front flipper on a little tiny knife like this. Now, it is snappy. I can deploy it reliably, but I did wind up cutting myself as well trying to deploy it because I went to deploy it, and when it opened, my thumb caught it, and it opened in my thumb, and yeah. Because it's just so tiny. So my primary way to flip it is just like this. And it works great like that. But being such a tiny knife, you just don't have a ton of leverage to grip it and snap it open. And it's kind of stiff. So it almost feels like it's on washers. It's probably on bearings, but it's just such a light knife. Anyways, cool little knife though. And it is super snappy once you get it down. A little tiny razor blade. It works great for like opening things up, little tiny detailing work. And that's what this is going to be great for. It'll be great for in the office, something you could just pop open and, you know, cut something out, whatever you need to do that's utility tasked. Not a deep carry clip, so it's going to be great for female pockets, and that's another reason why Kara got it, because, you know, as a lady, she has to always deal with little tiny pockets, so this will work great for that. It does have a straight edge, and the blade steel on... Ooh, dang it, just poked myself again. The blade steel is 14C28N. Now, the premium version, I forget what the premium one has, but it does have a more premium steel. Anyways, let's get to the next one. Now, last but not least on this list, we have the UTX, the Microtech UTX70 Spartan Edition. See how it has the spear point dagger style double-edged blade. Now this is a tiny OTF. This is not large at all. The whole thing can fit right in the palm of my hand. So this is California legal. I think it's a 2.3 inch blade. It's just over 2 inches. But just so you can see how tiny it is, you know, if you know the Spyderco PM2, 3.5 inch blade, 8 inches overall. So this is very tiny, but that's what's kind of cool about it. It's something that you can easily conceal, you can easily carry, very easy to deploy. The spring, it's still strong. So it's not going to misfire or anything like that. You do have a lot of tension pushing back on the button, and that's the way OTFs are. They won't accidentally deploy in your pocket or anything like that because you have a very strong spring. You have to overcome that spring, and then once you get to the last bit, then you have to keep pushing to break basically the action to get it to deploy. And once it deploys, it's open, and then you just pull it back, and you have the same amount of tension pulling back. Very snappy. Now on these, you see how it has like a ramped button right here, and that's very grippy, so it makes it to where you have a lot of traction when you deploy it. The blade double-edged, like I said. Now this one is in I think 204p. Yeah, 204p, basically 20 CV or M390. Double-edged, which in many cases double edges they're restricted in a lot of places as far as carrying them. But since this is so small, you can carry it in most places. It is an aluminum body, proprietary hardware, and it's made by arguably the best, one of, if not the best, OTF knife maker in the world, which is Microtech. Now, the one problem, and it's not really that big of a deal because it's what you get into when you have an OTF, at least for the majority of OTFs. So the majority of OTFs don't have very thin slicey geometry. They're mostly for poking. So while they might be good for doing a utility cut here and there, it's not going to be very slicey. But this isn't really for that, you know, and they do make some that are pretty good at slicing and EDC stuff. But this one specifically, it's going to be mostly good for poking, just using that tip, things like that. I suppose you could use the secondary tip to open things up. Now, you're not going to want to put your thumb on the edge, you know, by accident because it is double-edged. But because they, like I said, the geometry is so thick, they're not that sharp. You could resharpen it, but you know, if you look, it has such a high angle on it, so the edge bevels are nice and tiny. When you resharpen it, if you lower that angle, you make the edge bevel big, and then it looks kind of wonky. It can look ugly. So you want to resharpen it with another high angle. So those are just the little details why they kind of stay out of my pocket. This does have a glass breaker, which is cool. I'm not sure how effective it would be, you know, in a car accident or something, but you do have it. But anyways, very cool. I do like it quite a bit. You know, I like OTS. I just don't carry them very often because, you know, I find regular knives to be better for most things, while these are great or can be good for some tasks, not the best for most. But anyways, there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.